Joining me on the show is Faith Ekudu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
She's the PR of Uganda Insurance Association. Many people have, there are so many insurance companies now, and of course the famous one is covered by the best. But first of all, tell us what UIA does.
Okay. So we represent all the insurance companies in Uganda and reinsurance companies in Uganda. What that means is that we work towards ensuring an environment in which consumers can benefit from insurance, because at the end of the day, we like to say, if the consumer is not happy, my companies are not happy.
Yeah.
And at that point, we're not making any money as companies, but more importantly, we are not protecting you in case you suffer a loss. So we make sure that there are business standards in place to make sure that our companies are providing products and services that consumers can access and benefit from. We make sure we lobby on behalf of the industry. For example, if 2-3 years ago, the Ministry of Finance introduced taxes on insurance, which from the consumer standpoint, let's say you used to pay 35,000 for motor insurance, for motor third-party insurance. Now they increased the stamp duty by 30,000. So that means today you're spending about 68,000 shillings on motor third-party insurance, which is a compulsory insurance. So our job in that was to go to government and say, listen, people are interpreting this as you have increased the cost of insurance. Okay?
I thought so.
And the premium has stayed the same. If you look at it, the premium itself has stayed the same. It's the tax component that has increased.
That's a huge tax component.
It
so
has.
you lobby.
We would lobby for them to reduce that tax component, because especially for products that everyone uses. If I'm maybe a corporate company, I can claim back VAT. I can claim back all these things. But the individual who is down there, doing business every day, you can't claim it back. Then what happens? So for example, one of the things we're progressing with is microinsurance. I don't know if you've heard about this.
No.
So microinsurance specifically targets lower income earners. Okay? So say you're a border rider, for example, and maybe you think, insurance is expensive, I can't afford to give myself an accident cover as I'm riding my border. So we have products like that are suited for that category. Say for example, there's a life product where you can pay 7,500 shillings and be covered. For example, if you happen to die, God forbid, your beneficiary will get 1 million shillings. That's 7,500 shillings. Now, if we added a 35,000 shillings on top of that, or an 18% in VAT, that means that that person will not be able to afford, and yet they would be providing for their families. So life insurance in particular doesn't have those attached to it, but we have been able to lobby with government so that microinsurance products, instead of being 35,000 in stamp duty, have been reduced to 15,000 shillings. So that it makes it more affordable, especially for lower earners. So that's just a little of what we do. We also educate people on insurance, and it's a free service. If you want somebody who's unbiased, who's just there to help, we are available to come in and sit with you, whether it's your church group, whether it's a business, whatever it is. That's part of exactly what we do. So
you earlier mentioned reinsurance.
Yes.
What is that?
So insurance is about risk transfer. Okay? So when you come to me, you pay me a premium, and I take that burden from you so that if a loss happens, I pay you. That's what I do as the insurer.
Yes.
But because it's about risk transfer and spreading the risk, I also give part of that to a reinsurance company. So
insurance companies also insure themselves.
Exactly.
Oh.
So that at the end of the day, I am able to pay all of you, you see, because sometimes maybe the risk is too big. Maybe I don't have the capacity. So I reinsure so that when that claim comes, I'm able to pay you.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense, I guess, for example, when banks also get loans from another, ABI Trust will lend to banks.
Something like that.
I get it.
So just for the information of you, we actually have a national reinsurer called Uganda Reinsurance Company, because what was happening is that we're losing a lot of money to outside reinsurance companies. So that's the money that would leave us. So capital flight was happening a lot. So we established a Uganda Reinsurance Company, so it's a national one. so that part of that money can now stay internally and we can build our capacity as a market.
Oh, so okay, I'm digressing, but this is interesting.
Yes.
So you encourage insurance firms here to go straight to Uganda Reinsurance?
Yes. By law, they are required to reinsure with 3 reinsurance companies, and one of them is Uganda Re. It's a must. You have to give Uganda Re part of your money, unless they for lack of a better word, reject to take your business. But you are required to give them part of your premium, your reinsurance premium.
That's very smart.
Yes.
You're up to something that is supposed to be awesome. Tell us about the new campaign.
So what we're doing is we've realized over time that the awareness about insurance as a word has been achieved. People know, there's this word insurance, there's this word, but people don't exactly know what it means to them. They've not been able to translate that into a benefit. So what we said is, okay, how do I change you from knowing the word to understanding this word and understanding the benefit? So we have come up with a campaign, which is a countrywide campaign that is going to specifically look at the basics. We're doing 101, Insurance 101. What is insurance? How do you benefit? How do you buy? How do you claim? Things like that. And so to start with, we are concentrating on 4 key areas. One is agriculture insurance, because agriculture affects all of us, and people, I mean, we all want to be farmers at heart. And in the recent few days, we want to be huge farmers. We want to be huge farmers. So we are pushing agriculture insurance. Just for the information of you, I don't know if you've heard of the agriculture subsidy program that has been introduced by the Ministry of Finance. So what is going to happen is that farmers can get an insurance subsidy from this program. And it doesn't matter if you're a small-scale farmer or a large-scale farmer. You can come and you'll get a 30% subsidy if you're a large-scale, and a 50% subsidy, because we're saying, let's say, for example, you're there farming, unfortunately, there's a lot of rain. Or there's drought. That's a potential loss for you.
Exactly.
Why don't we insure it so that if that happens, we can compensate you? So that's agriculture insurance. We're doing motor insurance because we all use cars, or we all see cars on the road. We're doing life because life is important. And we are doing workers' compensation insurance.
Which is very critical, that one.
Yes, it's very critical. Interestingly enough, so workers' compensation is a compulsory cover. Unfortunately, not very many of our employers give our workers compensation. And the interesting thing is people think I must work in an office to get workers' compensation. That is not true. As long as you are formally or informally employed in Uganda, your employer must provide workers' compensation insurance. Now, if you have the basic insurance, it will cover you for injury, death maybe, or occupational diseases. So for example, I work with a pesticides company. I might develop some illness because of the work I am doing. So that will compensate me because of that disease that I am suffering. Now, that's the basic product. Now, for somebody like you maybe, who travels and leaves Kampala and goes wherever, your company might opt to give you a group personal accident cover. What that means, it will cover you for 24 hours, 7 days.
As long as I'm away from...
As long as you're away from your station. Because, and the way it's structured now by law, workers' compensation will cover you on your way to work, while you are at work, and on your way directly
regardless,
home.
Even if I'm in my own car, as long as I report that I left home, I am going to NTV. It covers.
Yes, directly on your way to work. If you decide to stop and buy a sambusa, it's another issue. But on your way to work, while you're at work and on your way home. But we know that, I mean, there are times you might be going to do work and you're in Gulu, for example. I mean, if it only covers you, we try to give you an extension so that if you go and you have such activities to do, it will still cover you and it will still compensate you. So that's, you know, in a nutshell, what we're trying to get people to understand. So we're doing it across different media platforms. We're doing one-on-one engagement, because insurance is one of those things you need to sit down and explain to somebody the benefits and things related to that. Yes.
Well, many people, and I don't know if it's going to be part of the campaign, complain about the failure of insurance companies to compensate them, you know, and give them what is due to them. I was told of one insurance company, and I vowed not to save with them. You know, if you miss a month, you literally forego everything you have had to save, and I thought that was unfair, you know. And when I called these guys, they were like, yeah, you see, the explanation didn't make sense. So where do you guys come in? Even through this campaign, are you going to be addressing some of these issues to people who are interested in insurance?
Yes. Broadly speaking, we are, just to comment on what you said earlier, one of the things we do as the association is we are an intermediary of sorts, because we are unbiased. Like I said at the beginning, if you're not happy, my company is not happy.
Yes, yes.
We're just generally not succeeding as an industry.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is sit down with you and say, okay, so what is the issue? And talk to the insurer as well and say, what is the issue? What does the contract say? Have we all understood it? Fine. But what we found out most times is that, unfortunately, and they keep saying, if you want to hide things from an African, put it in a book
writing
somewhere. People don't read the policy. I'm not saying that this justifies me maybe not paying your claim in the end, but it makes it a much simpler process if you had actually read it when you are signing it. Okay? That's one thing. The second thing is, terms and conditions will apply. Now, I'm not to say, yes, there are instances where maybe one of my members has unfairly not paid a claim. That goes without saying. Unfairly, it happens. But most of the time we have found that when you come to me and we sit down, it's usually a case of miscommunication. I said this,
by the insurer.
both of you. Because you see, your expectation was, if I have paid and this month I can't pay, you will understand.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
My expectation was, my friend, if you don't pay this month, I am cutting you off.
I will cut you off.
You see, eh?
Yeah.
So most times we say, but we try to make it so that, we are all human. You might find this month I have money, next month I don't have money. Usually we encourage the clients, people I talk to, I say, you know what, be honest with your insurer, okay? And say, you know what, I can't pay you for the next 2 months, but after that, I'll be able to pay. No problem. Write it in, they will extend it, because this is a business relationship. It's not a loan business, it's a relationship. It must grow for both of us to benefit.
Yeah.
So part of that is explaining that process. Part of this campaign will explain that process. And one thing people need to know, the Insurance Regulatory Authority regulates the insurance industry. It has given very strict guidelines on when you should be paid and how to claim. Now, for example, if I have a motor third-party claim, the most basic one, once I've given in all my documentation, and we have agreed, I have given you my police report, I've given you my ID, everything.
Yeah.
Once I sign off, once we agree, the insurer gives you what they call a discharge voucher, which basically says, okay, I agree, insurer, pay me 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
Sign off.
Right.
Because of the amount, they should pay you within 5 working days. It's just 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
Now, people pay in 1 day, in 2 days. Now, we have found that the main issue here is in the documentation. That's the main issue, because what happens is, today, Brian, you're annoyed with me, you come, you fill in your form. I tell you, fine, go and get a police report. You come back after 6 months. In that time, you're saying, I've not paid you. You just haven't brought your documents.
Yeah.
You see, eh?
Yeah.
But people don't tell you that part
They just
of the story. So that's what we are saying. We're saying, let the agent, let the insurer explain to you at the onset. Yeah. Even before you sign, you're actually entitled to get what we call a sample policy document. Part of that is the claims, so that you can read and understand even before you sign. Understand it. Because when you come and complain, I'm going to say, but boss, you signed, and clause 5 says this of what you signed.
Right.
So read it. Make sure you read it. And we like to say, shop around. We have so many insurance companies. You're not tied to one.
Right.
Shop around. If you don't agree with the terms here, ask them. If you don't want, go to another one.
Yeah.
We have so many. And all of them, like I said, regulated by the IRA. They are members of the association. So if you need to verify that this is actually an insurance company, or you're having problems, get in touch with any of us. We have complaint desks. We have a toll-free line. Both of us do. All of this is in confidence, because at the end of the day, I want you to be happy, and I want you to be served.
Yeah, probably for the benefit of our viewers, we'll take that toll-free line later in the show. But how long is the campaign, and where can people get this information? Are you coming to us? Are you putting it on radio or strictly TV? Where can I?
It is a 1-year campaign, actually. It's part of a 3-year campaign. So what we are doing as the industry is saying, if we are growing on average 18% every year, that's not doing very good. That means we have, first we look at it as a positive, to say, I mean, that means the 99% of the population who are not insured,
Yeah.
which is a market for us.
Yeah.
So we're saying, okay, if we are less than 1% today, 2016, in 10 years we want to be at 3%. Okay? So working back, that means we need to invest in education and awareness. That means we need to invest in the products we are developing. That means we need to invest in the distribution. How does Brian get it? Does he go on his phone? Does he go to a shop? Does he? And these are all considerations. So right now, the awareness campaign is running on all media, which means radio, TV, newspaper, billboards, online, and different ways for us, because at the end of the day, as many people can hear me, the better for us, all of us.
Yeah.
So that's how it's been structured to run. We are also running what we call insurance clinics, which means I come and sit with you and explain it to you in person, and working with different groups to make sure that we can reach your people. So one of our groups, the way we target is mainly through associations or cooperatives, because we want to find groups or churches.
Yes.
Because we want to find you in little groups and explain to you exactly.
Should get these pastors to talk about these things, eh? Yeah, well, I have issues with some pastors, but we'll talk. That's for another day. Any last word, Faith, for our viewers?
I would encourage all of you to insure, because let alone the fact that I'm speaking on behalf of the industry, the truth is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah? And whether you're thinking about yourself or you're thinking about your family or you're thinking about your business, think about it and put measures in place to make sure that your legacy lives on.
Yeah.
Because that's what we'll remember, those of us who you've left behind. So think about it. We are available to talk to you and give you advice free of charge.
Right. The toll-free number.
Uganda Insurers Association, it can be reached on 0800 10 50 50.
0800
10
10
50
50 50. Enamba simyabwiriri. Wokuba bano bebasasula, right?
Yes.
So please call, please call, please call. There's an interesting proverb: ignorance is no defense. So don't say you didn't know. And where do people find you? We
are located on Acacia Avenue between DFCU Bank and Sinok. So we're right there. Yes, Uganda Insurers Association, our logo, and it's in red, and you'll see us, all my members are lined up on the wall, so it'll be easy to find.
Right.
Yes.
Actually, I encourage, you know, I'm really excited about the micro-insurance. Please encourage your people to go there. Some of you have 1 million borders in this city, but none of them is insured. Probably it's time to start that. You know, Faith, next time when you come, we'll talk about whistleblowing.
Yes.
Where do I report when my employer
I am readily available to talk about whistleblowing.
So we shall call you back. Eh?
Thank
you so much for joining us. Faith Ekudu is the PRO of Uganda Insurance Association. You can also go to our Facebook page and get more details.